Good morning, student. So in the last lecture we start the types of HVDC link, and first we start the monopolar link. So as you already studied that monopolar link only one conductor we use, and generally we use the negative polarity because to reduce the corona loss. Comparatively positive polarity, corona loss is less in negative polarity of the conductor. And we use the ground as a return path in this monopolar link operation. Or if you use the submersible cable, if you transmit the DC power through the water, so use the only one cable, submersible cable, and you use the water as a return path also. So this system generally used to reduce the cost of the system because we require only one conductors. So this is the first step towards the next bipolar next HVDC link, that is nothing but a bipolar link. The next classification of the HVDC system is that bipolar link. So as you can see in this figure, we have used the two conductor. One is positive conductor, go conductor, and other is a return conductors. In this case, we not use the ground as a return path, we use the negative conductor as a return path in this case. So during the fault, suppose happen in the any line or any one pole, so we can maintain the power supply from one end to another end in this case, where it is not possible in case of the monopolar operation. Clear? So this is the advantage of using the bipolar link, that by using any one conductor you can maintain the flow of power from one end to another end. And another thing that here in this bipolar link, at each terminal you require the two converters, because here you using the two poles or two conductors. So one converter for one pole. So you can see that at one end you require the two converters, 6 pulse converter and another 6 pulse converter. So it means in bipolar operation you require the 12 pulse converter. Same way at the receiving side also. And the junction between these two converters, that is grounded by the electrodes, grounded electrodes. The next is the homopolar link. Same like a bipolar link, here we use the two conductors, but generally we use the same polarity of the conductor, and it is negative polarity to reduce the corona loss. So both are the negative polarity, and in normal condition also we use the ground as a return path. So here it is nothing like a two monopolar links operated simultaneously. So you can see that this upper converter with this conductor and with ground as a return, that is a work as a one monopolar link. Same way the second converters, both the side with this negative polarity conductor with ground as a return, work as a second monopolar link. So homopolar operation is nothing like a operation of two monopolar links simultaneously, and we use the negative polarity conductor to reduce the losses. So same like a bipolar link, here suppose any fault happens in any one of the conductor or any one of the pole, you can maintain the power throughout the line. Okay. So generally the homopolar links, we use the two negative conductor, so its rating is given in terms of minus 500 or whatever the voltage we transmitted. Suppose that if this conductor, you can see this figure of bipolar operation. Same way, suppose in this case if you use the homopolar operation, so you use the both the negative conductors, this also negative and this also negative. So suppose this HVDC line is designed for 500 kV, so it is right like this way, minus 500 kV, because both the conductors are of negative polarity. Same way, suppose in bipolar operation, if you use a one positive conductor, another is a negative conductor, so it is rated like this way, plus or minus 500 kV. So from this rating you can understand that which type of HVDC link used in the transmission system. So if it is rated plus minus 500 kV, so you can say that this is a bipolar operation of HVDC. If it is rated like this way, minus 500 kV or plus 500 kV, so it means that that is a homopolar operation. Clear? If there is no rating is given like this way, only 500 kV, then it means that it is operated in monopolar operation, because there is only one conductor. So from the rating of the HVDC system you can identify that which type of HVDC link is used in that particular HVDC system. So I hope it is clear to all of you. Different types of HVDC link. Now next we see the general layout single line diagram of the HVDC transmission system. So you can see that here this is a bipolar HVDC system, or you can see that this is maybe a homopolar operation depending upon the type of conductor we use, or we use the ground as a return. So if you use the ground as a return, this electrode, then it is a homopolar operation, but generally we prefer to use the bipolar operation because of the certain limitation of using the ground as a return. We already discussed that corrosion, erosion, and as well as communication interference if from the ground communication lines pass through. So if the DC current is used as a return path through the ground, so this DC current is interference is now near communication line. So that's why we generally not prefer in normal condition ground as a return. So in the most of the HVDC system in the world that we use the bipolar operation. So at each end we require the two converters, one 6 converter, another 6 converter, both are connected in series, so that we can make the 12 pulse operation. Another component that we require, that is a main component, which is a converter transformer. This is a special type transformer we use. This is a different as compared to the normal conventional transformers. We will discuss later on what is the difference between conventional transformer and these converter transformers. And because of these transformers near to the converter, that's why we call as a converter transformer. Here AC side we require the circuit breaker for the protection of the AC system. Same way in both the pole. This is a one pole, this is another pole. Same way here at the AC side we require the filter, because we know that converter operation that generate the harmonics because of the switching of the thyristor or any switching device we use in the converter. Generally we use the thyristor. We will discuss later on why we use the thyristor generally. So because of the converter operation that produce the harmonics and that injected to the AC side. So to remove these harmonics from the AC side we require the AC filter. It may be active filter or passive filter. As well as because of the converter operation there is a phase shift between the current and voltage, supply voltage and current. That's why these converters require the reactive support. So we provide the reactive support locally at both the end. You can see that at this end also we provide the filter as well as reactive support. So generally we use the capacitor bank, or sometimes we use the flex devices like a STATCOM as a reactive support. Here DC side also we require the DC filter as well as DC smoothing reactor. So DC smoothing reactor, that is used to reduce the ripple contained in the DC output, as we know that the output of converter is not a pure DC. So to remove this ripple from the output DC voltage we require the smoothing reactor. So because of this smoothing reactor some harmonics are there, so because of that we require the DC filter. And last component, that is the electrode. In emergency situation, if any one pole is open, like suppose this conductor is open because of any fault in the DC side, so we can use this conductor for power transmission and we use this electrode as a ground return. Okay? So these are the basic components that we use in HVDC system. So in the next slide we go into detail about each and every component and understand that what is the role of these components. So first component and main component in this HVDC system, that is nothing but a converters. So as we know that there are different types of converter we use: 6 pulse, 12 pulse, 18 pulse, 24 pulse and 36 pulse. But generally we use the 12 pulse converter, because as we increase the number of pulses and we increase the number of converter in series, the control of this converter becomes very complex. So generally we prefer in the HVDC system up to the 12 pulse converters. So as we already see the single line diagram, that at each end we require the two converters, because generally we use the bipolar operation. So as you see in this diagram here, we call this as a converter. We not call as a rectifier or inverter, because any of the converter can be work as a rectifier or inverter, that depending upon in which direction we transfer the power. Suppose from this bus generator is connected and this bus the load is connected, so that we must operate this converter as a rectifier and this receiving side or load side converter work as a inverters. Same way vice versa is also possible. Here suppose there is a generation, if you want to transfer the power from this bus to this bus, then this converter can be work as a rectifier and this converter can be work as a inverter. So that's why we give the name common to all these converters, because any converter can be work as a rectifier as well as inverters. So from the sending end where the power is transferred, that is work as a rectifier, and converter at the receiving end, that is work as a inverter, which convert the DC into AC power. So as I already told you that in case of reversal of operation, rectifier can be used as an inverter or vice versa. So that's why we call as a converter. So in normal converter, as we know that in rectifier or inverter, bridge converters, three-phase bridge converters, generally we use the 6 switches, clear, and each leg we use the 2 switches. But here you can see that we operate the HVDC system at very high voltage level, more than 500 kV or 1000 kV, clear. So we not just use the single thyristor as a one switch, we require the number of series parallel combination of thyristor, so we can increase the voltage rating, and this combination of thyristor in series and parallel, that is called as a valve. So this valve is act as a switch. Suppose you use the 6 pulse converter, so you require the 6 valves, and each valve contains the number of series parallel thyristors. Let's we see in the next slide what is a valve. So before that, we understand that what is the voltage rating of the different semiconductor devices and why we use the thyristor as a switch in the HVDC converters. So you can see that in this table, comparison table for the different rating of different semiconductor devices. So first thyristor, you can see that is now available at 8000 watt, it means 8 kV maximum voltage rating of the thyristor. Same next for GTO, maximum voltage rating is 6 kV. IGBT has 1.7 kV. Static induction thyristor that has 2.5 kV. MCT has 3 kV and MOSFET has 1 kV. So highest voltage rating is available in the market is of thyristor. So if you use the thyristor as a switch in a valve in HVDC converter, so we require the less number of thyristors as compared to if you use any other semiconductor device. Same way, suppose you use the MOSFET or IGBT, so you require the more number of MOSFET, IGBT or GTO. Yeah. So ultimately cost of the switching devices increases if the number of switching devices will increase. So that's why generally we prefer to use the thyristor, because thyristor has a maximum voltage rating available. Same way, maximum current rating of the thyristor is 4 kiloampere. GTO has 6 kiloampere, IGBT 800 ampere, SI thyristor 800 ampere, MCT 400 and MOSFET is 100 ampere. Then voltage blocking capacity of thyristor is symmetrical or asymmetrical. It means that can block the voltage in forward direction as well as reverse direction. Same way GTO, but in IGBT that is asymmetrical. Same way SI thyristor, MCT that can block symmetrically as well as asymmetrically, MOSFET asymmetrical. Gating we provided to the thyristor. We knew that by providing the gate pulse we can turn on the thyristor. GTO we can turn on by providing the current pulse, IGBT by voltage, SI thyristor by current pulse, MCT by voltage and MOSFET also by the voltage. And then conduction voltage drop, all these thyristors, switching frequency, you can see that. Then development target in the future, maximum voltage rating for the thyristor is 10 kV, GTO 10 kV. So in future may be possible that we can use the GTO or IGBT as a thyristor, as a switch in the converter, HVDC converter. So at this time the voltage rating of the thyristor is high, because of that we prefer to use the thyristor as a switch into the HVDC converter. So from this comparison you can get the idea is that why we use the thyristor as a switch in the HVDC system. So generally the configuration of valve in the HVDC converter is like this way. So you can see that is a one valve, that is a series combination of number of series thyristor, you can see that. And as I already told you that this is operated at a very high voltage level, so that for the cooling purpose we require the heat sink, but heat sink is not sufficient. So for that we require the cooling water with the deionized water which is circulating in this pipe, so that provide the cooling to this valve. As well as we provide the firing here to this all the thyristor through the optical fiber cables, so we can provide the proper isolation, because here your power circuit is operated 500 or 1000 kV, so it is very high voltage level, where your control circuit is operated very low voltage level. So suppose any fault happens in the power circuit, so that if you not provide any isolation to this gate circuit of the thyristor, so maybe possible that your gate driver circuit will damage. Clear? So for that we require the proper isolation to gate driver circuit of this thyristor valves. So in the thyristor there are number of modules are connected, and the number of modules combine that in the one trace, and there is number of trays are connected in the one valves. So you will see in the next slide what is a tray and what is a modules. So basically in each modules in the valve that contains the 6 to 10 high power thyristors, and the rating is between 1 to 10 kV. Ampere rating is 1 to 5 kilo ampere. As you know that cooling requires deionized water, because that provides the effective cooling as compared to the ionized water. Then isolation purpose we provide these fiber optic cables through which we provide the gate pulse to these thyristors. So you can see that this is a figure of one valve. You can see the highlighted parts, yellow highlighted parts of this figure, that is nothing but a one valve. In this one valve there are number of trays are placed. In one tray you can see that this rounded mark, this is a one tray. In one tray there are number of modules. So here suppose I take the example that in this one tray there are 4 modules are connected, and in this one valve, in all this one valve there are 10 to 12 trays are connected in series. Yeah. So suppose I take the example that suppose in this one valve, and out of these 10 trays, suppose assume that there is a 10 trays. In one tray suppose there are 4 modules are available. 4 modules available. In each module there are 6 thyristors. So suppose that the rating of each thyristor is 5 kV, 4 kilo ampere, and all the thyristors are connected in series. Yeah. Again I repeat it, in one module suppose 6 thyristors and each have rating 5 kV, 4 kilo ampere, and all are connected in series. So rating of this one module is 30 kV, 4 kilo ampere. In this one tray there are 4 modules are connected, like this 6 thyristors in one module, and each tray contains the 4 modules. Out of these 4 modules 2 are connected in series and 2 are connected in parallel. So because of 2 are connected in series, as we know that the rating of one modules 30 kV and 4 kilo ampere, when you connect in series, so voltage rating becomes 60 kV, and 2 are connected in parallel, so current rating becomes 2 multiplied 4 kilo ampere, so 8 kilo ampere. So 60 kV, 8 kilo ampere, that is the rating of only one tray. It means you can see that this is the highlighted part with red colors, that is nothing but one tray which contains the 4 modules, 2 series and 2 are in parallel. So each tray has a rating of 60 kV, 8 kilo ampere, and in one valve you can see that there are suppose 10 trays and all are connected in series. So voltage rating becomes 10 multiply 60, so that becomes 600 kV, and there is no parallel connection, so current rating is remain as it is 8 kilo ampere. So this one valve is operated at 600 kV, 8 kilo ampere. Clear? So normally this converter is operated at 500 kV, but because of the precaution, suppose any one valve or any one tray is damaged, to avoid this type of problem, we generally use a more number of thyristor or more number of trays in series. So here you can see the rating of only one valve. That type of 6 valve is connected in a bridge configuration, so that makes the 6 converter, and 2 6 converter is connected in series, so that makes the 12 pulse converters. So if you count the number of thyristor in this one valve for this example, so you can see that suppose here in one module we use the 6 thyristor and we have total 4 modules. So 6 multiply 4, we have 24 thyristors in one tray only. Clear? 24 thyristor in only one tray, and we have total 10 trays, so we have total 240 thyristor in one valve. And in total converter, so suppose that is a 6 pulse converter, so total thyristor we use in this 6 pulse converter is 240 multiply 6. So you can now imagine that how many thyristor we require and how we provide the cooling and all these things to this thyristor for the protection purpose. So suppose I take example that why we generally use the more number of thyristor as compared to the rated capacity. So suppose I take the example that suppose I use the 5 thyristor in series. Suppose I operated this valve. One valve is suppose operated at 100 kV. So as per the rating, I have required the suppose I have available thyristor which has a rating 5 kV. 5 kV rating of one thyristor. So 100 kV divided by 5 kV. So I need the 20 thyristors in series, so I can make the rating of 100 kV. So it is connected like with this way in series. Number of thyristor in series. For this case 20 thyristor to make the rating 100 kV. So suppose that this is a 1 thyristor and this is a 20 thyristor. So suppose that due to any fault, suppose any one of the thyristor in this series connection is damaged. Suppose this thyristor is damaged. Damage means suppose it is short circuited. Yes. So now what is the voltage across the now thyristor? Voltage is remain as it is 100 kV. But because of the damage of one thyristor, now the capacity of this series connected thyristor is to withstand only the 95 kV voltage. But you apply the 100 kV across it. So what happens? One by one all the thyristor will damage. And that damage our whole valves and maybe possible that they damage the whole converter. That's why if you design the 100 kV valves, you generally design it for the 110 or 120 kV. So suppose any one valve is damaged, does not create any cascading failure of this valve. So because of that, we require the more number of thyristor as compared to its rated capacity. So now let's see the configuration or figures of some of the converters. Actual HVDC converter nowadays we use in the all over the world for the power transmission at high voltage level over the long distance. So you can see that this is a one of the valve. Number of thyristors are connected and total 6 valves are connected in a bridge fashion. And you can see here this side there is a transformer, converter transformers are connected. This is the AC side and this side is the DC side. Same way, this is another configuration, another figure. You can see the size of this converter, so very high. That depend upon the voltage level at which we transfer the power. As the voltage level increases, more and more number of thyristors requires, the size of the valve will increase. This is another figure. This is a HVDC substation which is made by the Siemens. You can see the symbol. So now, as I already told you that how to achieve the high voltage and current rating in this HVDC converters. So to achieve the higher current rating, you can connect the thyristor in parallel, or you can connect the valve in parallel, or sometimes we connect the bridge in parallel. Suppose we want to increase the current rating, so sometimes we connect the 2 6-pulse converter in parallel also, or sometimes you connect the valves in parallel. Yeah. So it is not mandatory that you just use the only 6 valve for the 6-pulse converter. You can use the number of valves depending upon the requirement of voltage and current. And same way, to increase the voltage rating of the converter station, you can connect the valve in series. As you already see that, same way you can also connect the bridge in series. As you know that in the bipolar operation, we connect the 2 bridges, 2 6-pulse bridges in series, so that we can increase the voltage. One is operated at plus 500 kilowatt, another is operated at the minus 500 kilowatt. So the total rating is 1000 kV. So that's why we rated in terms of plus or minus 500 kV. So same way you can also connect the bridges in series, valve in series, and combination of this. And generally we use a bridge converter in the HVDC system. So generally what is the requirement of the valve in the converters? So this operation of the valve is same like your switch. used in the converters. So during the conduction operation, the current can be easily flow through this valve and voltage drop must be minimum, so that power loss is minimum. And during the non-conduction tank, that offer the high resistance to the non-conducting phase, so that can be act as an open circuit. Another requirement is that the valve must be withstand the high peak inverse voltage during the non-conducting phase, because you see that in the converter operation, when any one valve is conducting any of the phase, the other valve of the other phase are open circuited. So at that time, during open circuit condition of that valve, the supply voltage, or maybe sometimes 2 times of the supply voltage, comes reversely across the valve. Clear? So in that time, then during non-conduction state, the valve must be withstand this peak inverse voltage. Second is that, second requirement of the valve, that to allow the reasonably short commutation angle during the inverter operation. So we will see this later on, what is the commutation angle. So this short commutation angle is required for the proper commutation of the valves in the inverter operation. If you not provide the proper commutation angle time, then may be possible that it can create the abnormal effect in the converter. Sometimes they may fail these converters. So we need the short commutation angle in the inverter operation to make the proper commutation of the valves. Then, as you already know that during the converter operation, one phase is conducting and after some time another phase is conducting. Yeah. So the transfer of this phase from one to another phase must be very smooth manner, so that they are not create any transients. Otherwise, they may be possible that they damage the valves. So the transition of one phase to another phase during the operation of the converter must be in a smooth manner. Next, as we know that there are basically 2 types of converters. In the inverter, we know that there are basically 2 types. One is current source converter and voltage source converter, or we can say that voltage source inverter or current source inverter. But here we call as a converter, not inverter or rectifier. So depending upon the requirement, we use the 2 types of converter. One is current source converter and another is a voltage source converter. So as we know that in the current source converter, we use the inductor in series with the supply to make the current constant. So that's why it is called as a current source converter. And the voltage source converter, we use a capacitor in series with the supply to maintain the constant voltage at the supply side. So that's why it is called as the voltage source converter. Generally in the HVDC system, we prefer to use the current source converter. The reason is that, as you know that we control the voltage for controlling the power in the HVDC system and make the current constant in the DC line. So we require the constant current in the HVDC system. Because of that, we use the current source converter, because it provides the constant current. But VSC we can use in the FACS devices like STATCOM and SVC. We know that FACS devices which is required for the compensation level. So in that case, we use a voltage source converters. So let's compare both these converters, technical comparison between the CSC and VSC. So as we know that inductor we use at the DC side in the CSC, where VSC we use the capacitor that provide the constant current. VSC provides the constant voltage. CSC we have high losses. The reason of this high loss happens in the CSC is that, as you know that in the DC line, HVDC line, through the conductor, current is constant, because we operate in a constant current mode. So as per this constant current mode, the I is remain constant, so your I square R loss is also remain constant in the HVDC system. Where in HVAC system, the value of current is changing depending upon the load condition. As you know that load dependent current, as load is increases, current will increase. As load is decreases, current will reduce. So I square R loss is also changes in this HVAC system. But in HVDC system, it is fixed. So because of that, the I square R losses are high in CSC converter as compared to the HVAC system. So that's why here between the high losses in the CSC if we use in the HVDC system, and VSC it is more efficient because losses are less. CSC is a fast accurate control provided as compared to the VSC, because here VSC we use a capacitor, so its response is very sluggish. In CSC we require the large size because we require the inductor. This is nothing but a one type of reactor we require at the supply side, and we know that the size of reactor is very high as the power rating will be high. So that's why it is very large and expensive as compared to the VSC, because in VSC we use the capacitor. You know that in the capacitor, as we increase the size of capacitor or increase the rating of capacitor, its size is smaller and smaller, so it is less expensive as compared to the reactor. So that's why CSC is large and more expensive, VSC is smaller and less expensive. CSC, the more fault tolerant and more reliable. That is because of inductor we use in series with the supply. So suppose any fault happens in the supply side, so because of this reactor, that can limit the fault current up to the reasonable limit. So that's why it is a more fault tolerant as compared to the VSC. And control of the CSC is simple as compared to the VSC, and because of this reason generally we prefer to use the CSC in the HVDC system. Now next component in the HVDC system, that is the converter transformer. You can see this is a picture of one of the converter transformers. The size of this converter transformer always is very large because it is operated at very high voltage rating. You can see that this is another transformers, HVDC transformer, and these transformers are built at Alstom Baroda, that is made in India's first 800 kV HVDC converter transformer, and that is built for the Power Grid Corporation for the Champa Kurukshetra HVDC link, and this is the first largest HVDC converter transformer rated 800 kV. Then let's see that the different types of converter configuration, that is depend upon the type of converter we use. Suppose we use the 6 pulse converter, so we generally prefer to use the single 3-phase transformers, or sometimes we can use the 3 single phase transformer because we require the basically 3 phases at the supply side for the converters. So 3-phase transformer we generally use, or maybe you can use the 3 single phase transformer. Then if you use a 12 pulse converter, so it means that you require the 6 phases, 3 phases for converter 1, 6 pulse converter 1, and second 3 phases that is required for the 6 pulse converter 2. So there are 3 type configuration you can use for this 12 pulse converter. You can go for the 6 single phase 2 winding transformer. So each has a 2 winding at the secondary so each has a 1 winding secondary. So you can use a 6 single phase transformer, so you can get the 6 phases. But you need to provide the 30 degree phase shifting, so that you can get the 6 phase supply and you get the 12 pulse output at the converter side. Then second possibility, that you can use the 3 single phase 3 winding transformer. 3 winding means 1 primary and 2 secondary winding. So each transformer has 2 secondary windings, so total winding at the secondary side is 6 if you use the 3 single phase 3 winding transformer. So 3 phases provided to the first 6 pulse converter and another 3 phases provided to the second 6 pulse converter. Same way you can also use the 2 3 phase 2 winding transformer, so that also provide the 6 phases for both this converter, and you must provide the 30 degree phase shifting if you use the 12 pulse converter. Then and then you get the 12 pulse at the output of the converters. So what is the basic property of this converter transformer? So as you know that in the leakage flux of the converter transformer, that contains the very high harmonics. So the reason of this high harmonic content in the transformer side is because of the converter operation. Because of the converter operation, switching of the valves that introduce the harmonics and inject to the AC side. So that harmonics also injected to the transformer side. So in the leakage flux, the high order harmonics are contained, large number of harmonics are contained, and that produce the greater eddy current losses. As we know that the equation of eddy current loss, that is directly proportional to the square of the frequency. If you write the equation, P eddy current loss, so that is directly proportional to the square of the frequency, and we know that hysteresis law, that is directly proportional to the only frequency. So as we know that as you increase the frequency, the eddy current loss will increase. So if the harmonic, we know that the frequency is more than the fundamental frequency, more than 50 Hz. So if you use the 6 pulse converter, then you know that the characteristic harmonic, that is the NP plus minus 1. So that generate the first dominant harmonic is 5th 7, then 11th and 13th. So this 5th order harmonic frequency is 5 multiply 50 Hz. If 50 Hz is your fundamental frequency. So at 250 Hz injected into the leakage flux of the transformer. So you can see that as the frequency is more as compared to the fundamental, the eddy current loss will increase. Same way for the 7th harmonics, again frequencies increases, 11th and 13th other harmonics. So because of this, dominant harmonics are very high in the 6 pulse converter as well as in 12 pulse converter. So because of that, eddy current loss happens in the converter transformer is very high. So this why this sentence is written that here the leakage flux of the converter transformer contains a very high harmonic content and produces a greater eddy current loss, and because of this loss the hotspot created into the core of the transformer, and sometimes we require the maintenance for this transformer because of creation of the hotspot. Sometimes they damage the winding also. So we must maintain the temperature of this transformer to the rated value based on this data sheet. In case of 12 pulse converter, as we know that we require the 2 3-phase transformers. So we must use the one transformers with star-star connection. It means one transformer has secondary star connection, and another transformer we must use in a star delta configuration, so that one connected in star, another connected in delta, so we can get the 30-degree phase shift, and then we can get the 12 pulse at the output of these converters. So if you use the 12 pulse converter configuration in the HVDC system, you must provide the 30-degree phase shift by using the transformer, by using the star-star and star-delta transformers. So suppose any fault happens in the HVDC system to the AC side, so there is no limiting medium which is provided to limit this fault current. So generally when we design this converter transformer, we design in such a way that the leakage impedance of this converter transformer is high as compared to the conventional transformer. That is exactly opposite to designing the conventional transformer, because in conventional transformer generally we design for the low leakage impedance. The reason is that, as we know that in the HVAC system, where we use the conventional transformers, HVAC system, we design the active power with the equation. We know that V1 V2 divided by X sin delta. So in this X, inductive reactance, generally inductive reactance. So in this reactance generally contains the reactance of transmission line, as well as the reactance of transformer. Here. So to increase the power transfer, active power transfer in HVAC system, generally we design this transformer in such a way that we can reduce this X, so we can transmit the maximum active power. But exactly opposite here we use in case of HVDC system. Exactly opposite case we use here HVDC system. So what is the reason? Here you can see that in this figure, suppose that any fault happens here between the secondary of this transformer and converters. So what will happen? Very large amount of fault current is flowing from AC side to this converters. But if you design this converter transformer with the small leakage reactance, so what happens? Very large amount of current will flow, and maybe possible that it will damage your transformer also. Clear? So intentionally we design the conventional transformer in such a way that leakage impedance or leakage reactance is very high, so that we can limit this fault current to the reasonable value. Yeah. So that's why this conventional transformer and these converter transformers are different. So that's why this sentence is written here, that Since the fault current due to the fault across the wall, the predominantly controlled by the transformer impedance, the leakage impedance of the converter transformer is higher than the conventional transformer. So same way as I explained you, suppose fault happens in the converter side or in the converter valve, or short circuit happens in the valve, so huge amount of short circuit current is flowing from the supply side. So to limit this short circuit current, we intentionally increase the leakage impedance by designing the transformer in such a way that we get the high amount of leakage impedance. As well as here in this converter transformer, we provide the online tape changing facility to control the voltage, because we know that here in the converter we change the voltage. By changing the voltage we control the voltage. So periodically the converter change the voltage. So from the supply side we require the different voltage level. So that's why we need to provide the online tape changing facility. So that not only control the voltage, that also provides the reactive supports to the system. Next component is the smoothing reactor. As you already see in this figure of this HVDC system, here at the DC side we require the smoothing reactor. Here we require the smoothing reactor. So the purpose of this smoothing reactor is to that smooth out the DC voltage, because output of this 6 pulse converter is a pulsating DC like this way. You see the operation of 6 pulse converter or 12 pulse converter, this is not a constant DC, it is a pulsating DC. So to smooth out this DC voltage, we require the smoothing reactor at the DC side. So let's see that what are the different types of smoothing reactors. So first purpose of using the smoothing reactor is to smooth the direct current output of the DC line, and second purpose is to limit the rate of rise of the fault current in the DC line. So suppose any fault happens in the DC conductor, very high amount of current is flowing through the converters, because converter control requires a very short period of time to open it and to remove this fault. But when sudden fault happens, at that time very large amount of current flowing from the converter output to the DC line. So at that time we must maintain this current to the reasonable value. So that time this reactor helps to reduce the rate of rise of this fault current in transient condition. But in steady state condition we know that this reactor, basically that is nothing but inductor. So in steady state condition this reactor is work as a short circuit. As we know that the inductor initial condition act as an open circuit, and in steady state condition act as a short circuit. But in initial condition that can oppose this rate of rise of fault current, so that maintain this short circuit current to the reasonable value. So that provide the protection against any fault or any short circuit in initial time. But obviously after the steady state, during the steady state period it is act as a short circuit current, so that in short circuit condition or in steady state condition converter control come into picture, and whole converter open by the converter control action and then remove this type of fault. But initially we require the control of this fault current. So smoothing reactor helps to limit this current. So there are two different types of reactor, smoothing reactor we use in the HVDC converter side, DC side. One is partial, or another is totally air core magnetically single reactor generally we use, and this is a disc type coil is used. Basically this reactor is nothing but a winding. This is a one type of inductor we use, and that is braced very tightly to withstand this short circuit current. And another property of this smoothing reactor, that the saturation of inductor should not be too low. It means the inductor or this winding used in this inductor get not saturated at a very low value of current. So the saturation of the inductance must be high. You can see the picture of this smoothing reactor. This is a totally air core reactor at the substation, HVDC substation. This is at the DC side because it is generally used at the DC side, because also AC reactor is available, also DC reactor is available. but in HVDC system we generally use the reactor, DC reactor at the DC. This is the another figure of this smoothing reactor which we use in the HVDC converter substation, and this is the detailed parts of the smoothing reactors. This is the insulator of this reactor, this is the pedestal, this is the cooling ducts, because the current is flowing throughout this reactor, smoothing reactor, so that also requires the cooling. Then another part is the harmonic filter. So in this lecture we complete here this. Next lecture we start this harmonic filter. So let's summarize this whole lecture. So starting from the different HVDC link, monopolar, bipolar and homopolar link. Generally we prefer the bipolar because of its advantage as compared to the homopolar and monopolar operation. And basic single line diagram of HVDC system and different components, and we discuss the different components like converters. Different converter we use 6 pulse, 12 pulse, same way different types of configuration of switching device is used, but generally we prefer the thyristor for high voltage level because it available maximum voltage rating. And we see the configuration of valve, and you can see this figure of the valves. There are so many thyristors are connected in series parallel to make the high voltage rating of the valve. Some of the pictures of converters. Then what is the requirement to increase the voltage and current rating, and what is the main requirement of the valve which is used in the converter. Basically two types of the converter we use, but in the HVDC system we use the CSC, current source converter. In FACS device we use the voltage source converter. And comparison of both these converters, CSC, VSC. Next element, that is a converter transformer. As I already told you that is another that is a special design transformer. It is a different as compared to your conventional transformer. And this is a very largest HVDC converter transformer which is built in India, which is operated at 800 kV rating, and which is built in the Gujarat at Baroda Alstom. Another component, this converter transformer, there are different types based on the converter pulse, use 6 pulse, 12 pulse, different configuration we require, and basic characteristic of these converter transformers. Then smoothing reactor, why we require the smoothing reactor and what is the purpose of using the smoothing reactor at the DC side, to smooth the DC current and to reduce the rate of rise of fault current. And this is some of the pictures of this reactor. So in the next lecture we will go to the next component, harmonic filters and other component. So I hope that you understand this lecture, and if you have any doubt, note down, we will discuss in the next lecture or you can mail me. So thank you for joining this lecture.